everyone, and welcome to episode 25 of the What the Sheep podcast, where we will be discussing and breaking down not only last night's episode 115, but also last week's episode 114, because we missed last week. Joining me today are my fabulous friends, Alana, and special guest tonight, Adam. Welcome. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Oh!
Welcome.
Sorry,
welcome.
I had to do it. I had to do it.
You had to do it to us. That's all right. And we are super excited because these past two episodes have been pretty interesting.
Fine.
You know, we always say we've always, these past several episodes we've always talked about how it's hard for us to come up with tinfoil hat theories when the episodes themselves are just absolutely absurd and insane and taking us by surprise.
Didn't even cross our minds. We're like, yeah, they'll get to AOR and Veth will be doing cool stuff. And no.
Well, it also doesn't help the fact that Marissa herself is always wearing her tinfoil hat, so to speak.
Yeah.
True.
And she's brilliant at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
that's
man.
true. For the sake of brevity, we're going to try to keep this podcast to just under 2 hours or around that part. So we won't do like a huge deep dive into 114, but there are definitely some key points that I would love to discuss and touch on. But we can go through a quick just some of our more favorite moments, the smaller moments of that episode. My big one was the more or less confirmation of Ace Caduceus with his
oh my god, I love that
little moment with the Goliath.
And not only that, is A, happening on Ace Week, and B, I myself am Ace.
Oh,
Nice.
So I totally felt seen.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's like, because I feel like it's been pretty well theorized by the community for a while that Caduceus is Ace.
Yeah.
But, like,
And if I
have it made canon, I guess. It's canon regardless.
Yeah.
But, shared.
Yeah, and if I recall on Twitter, Taliesin was actually saying he was sitting on that for quite a long time. So it was just happenstance, since it was pre-recorded, that the episode had to just air during Ace Week. So
Yeah.
Yay!
And it was literally a kind of a random occurrence of of Caduceus making a joke, the Goliath taking an interest in him, and then like we get the revelation. So it was like a nice turn of events. That Goliath was really fun. I liked her a lot.
And I think Danny G on Twitter and
made the compilation.
YouTube made I'll link it in chat. Made
Danny G. It's wonderful.
An Ace
party. We'll just continue on.
I will post
in fact,
that in chat for those who haven't seen it.
Also, there was also the fact that, going back to episodes, the fact that Kirli actually did a little montage of Caleb as well being Bipan. That was pretty great too. But I actually saw that in my related videos at one point with Cad. It was even funnier because of it was the Halloween episode. So amazing.
Anything that happens in the Halloween episodes is just
I know.
It's amazing.
It makes it
But
so much
editing,
harder.
It's the hardest thing for editing.
Also, it was Ashley's first Halloween stream, and
And she wasn't even there. Like, you couldn't even see her.
of course not. I mean, seriously, all I see there was a grassy. What?
Oh,
Amazing.
Henry
Amazing.
Crabgrass.
They were amazing outfits.
Oh my gosh. Jester, or not Jester, Laura being the gentleman.
Travis being Orly, Liam being Astrid, and we actually have a confirmation of her surname, Astrid Beck.
Beck?
Sam being Kiri. Yeah, he actually mentioned that during the pre-show. Sam was Kiri, Ashley was Henry Crabgrass, with consent. Taliesin was Arkavisinov, and Marisha was Celia Ovesa.
I thought Taliesin was Allura at first when I first
I thought
joined.
it was Allura as well. I was like, oh, I could only watch the start, like the first 5 minutes, and then I had to do other stuff. And I watched a few hours later, and I had to watch it on mute. So I was just watching the costumes come up, and I was like, oh, Allura, cool, that's nice.
Yeah.
To be fair, if Towson was gonna be Allura, he would have had to put on a blonde wig, and I don't think he's fond of being a blonde again.
Yeah. Oh, he had the blonde wig on for Xenos, didn't he?
No, he did not.
I guess it was a bit short.
It might, yeah.
No, I was also referring to his old natural haircut when he was a kid.
Oh yeah,
yeah. The days of the movie.
But no, that's always fun. But it's always like any kind of serious moment is really difficult.
Especially, I mean, the most the funniest one was Sam dressed as a leprechaun.
Yeah.
When,
oh my god, that was for a live show, not Halloween.
And that was a live show.
And speaking of which, the recent live shows, I think Mauricio keeps trying to one-up Sam, especially with that Chicago one. God damn.
It's impossible.
Exactly. Though she did outbar him as Hazel Copperpot.
Yeah, so I like the one-man band idea.
And as Jet Vulcan in chat pointed out, the Sensor bar with the golden
a part of Marisha's costume.
That was very clever.
Even with a neck brace, in a shirt it said, "I went to, something along the lines of I went to Travelcon and all I got was embarrassment or something like that."
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, another good thing I also liked about 114, in brief, was Dagon. Was it? His name was what?
Underthorn.
Yeah, Dagon Underthorn.
And the combat wheelchair. That was so amazing.
Very slick.
I had a feeling it would come up at some point in the campaign, and I think Dagon is the perfect character to introduce the combat wheelchair.
Not to mention his best part as well. All hail Sheila.
Yeah.
The axe.
I love a good name weapon. But no, really cool character. I remember for a while we were theorizing that was going to be Sam's character.
Yeah.
When Veth left, but are they a dwarf? Is Dagon a dwarf?
I believe so.
He is a dwarf.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also a fighter ranger multiclass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. We haven't seen them in combat yet, I guess. Oh, no, he was in the Yeti fight, but yeah.
More on that later.
But it's just cool. Like they're a very fun character. I love that kind of rough and tumble. Like it's kind of maybe like not the smartest person they've dealt with, but like just very friendly and just there to kind of help.
Well, unless you start pushing his buttons.
Yeah, not jumping ahead too far, but just any of his reactions to anything they did in this episode was amazing. So
it was very on brand with anyone who is unfortunate enough to cross paths with the 99.
True.
Yeah.
I feel like we have to start making like a tier list for the guides that have helped the Mighty Nine. Because we've had the two that come to my mind so far right now is Jamedi Costco and then obviously Dagon. Who else has had the pleasure to escort the Mighty Nine?
Technically a little bit. Bryce was a bit of a guide for them in Allfield.
Yeah.
Bryce was lovely though.
I would consider
Bryce was just like the nicest person when faced with absolute chaos.
I miss Bryce. We're very sweet.
Yeah.
That was scary, but anyway.
Yeah, man. Oh, the guy in the Bender Swamp who died.
We hardly
that's right.
Yeah, I can't remember their name.
I forgot about that character.
What was the name of their guide in the Lavender Swamp?
Wait.
Wasn't that the
LeBron.
character that was like hitting on
LeBron.
Yasha?
Yeah, LeBron. That was his name.
LeBron.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Come on, Lynn. You can do it.
I think Lynn, please. We don't have a lore master like.
Yeah, Villia was also kind of a guide.
Villia was a guide.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they've had a few guides.
Dang.
And
a few guides as well as
I hate them. Yeah, but no, that's he's a really fun character. I'm excited for more adventures with him.
I feel like I'm worried that Matt is trying to put him in danger because this is kind of jumping ahead to 115 really quick.
But Febron Keys. That was the name.
Febron Keys.
I was close.
But when Matt was describing like their days of travel and stuff, he kept saying things like, because you have Dagon, things are going well. Like, because you have Dagon, this is fine and stuff. So it's like, I feel like he's setting it up for, like, if for whatever reason Dagon maybe not dies, but if he leaves, the party's gonna have a much more difficult time traversing Dagon, this landscape.
He's buggered off out of the cavern that they've just entered in. Like,
yeah,
he's just like, all right, I'm out.
Yep. I was paid to bring you here, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a little worrisome.
But anyways, back to a few, episode 114 stuff. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about that I think is going to have some serious implications moving forward is the fact that magic is a little funky around here.
Yes.
And I want to know what Matt actually has planned for that. I'm wondering if maybe, like, when a spell is cast, he rolls like a percentile dice, and if it hits a certain threshold, then he rolls on like the wild magic chart, like for sorcerers or something. Like something will happen that will change the outcome of the spell, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't put it past him, especially since if I recall the Explorer's Guide for Blightshard, there's all kinds of random stuff that he could if they actually went there, he could roll on a random table. So having a wild magic be pure suffusing an entire continent or section of a continent like Isocross, I wouldn't have him do that.
Yeah.
I'm more worried about the potential for things going wrong.
Right, exactly. And I guess, I don't know, because I know, Alana, you've read into Isocross from the Explorer. I don't know, Adam, if you've read the Explorer's Guide to Wild Mountain and all that stuff. But if
I have actually.
Okay, if you have, and because you have, we'll keep spoilers to a 0 for information surrounding Isocross, because I haven't read it either. And I'm leaving it all to be a surprise for things that await us.
I know Phil messaged us. He's like, "Oh, I need to talk to someone about this." I'm like, "Sorry, Phil, I didn't read it."
Yeah. I'm just waiting. I'm waiting to be surprised and possibly devastated with the potential of Isocross.
Yeah, it's interesting too. It's I'm jumping ahead to 15. Damn it! No,
that's all right. We can jump around a little bit. Tonight's a funny episode.
I'll try not to. But the I like we got some glimpses again of like Ford as the face. This episode, him like deceiving the guards, him kind of putting on the front of being like the chief bodyguard, I guess, for Vesterogna. But I saw someone point out, like, it's the one time they've legitimately been hired to act as bodyguards, and they failed immensely. Like, they didn't even... They spend their time in the dome, like, setting up shifts for watches and everything, and they didn't even set up a shift to watch Vesterogna while she slept. Which I thought was pretty fantastic.
Yeah, and speaking of which, I will admit, since we're talking about Vesterogna now, I will confess, I'm sure a lot of people have had this experience as well. When Jessica was doing her scry, at first totally did not catch on what Matt was doing with the transition. They're just doing an alley-oop.
Yeah. He just said you go up.
Yeah, the best way I could describe the scrying, as well as who's positioned in there, it's basically like the big plot twist in Black Christmas. Like the call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It had no kind of I was thinking, he's in some kind of weird ruin or something. Like, it's fine. It's not a problem. But there's people theorizing that he was in disguise as Vesterogna, and maybe also like a guard, like at dinner, because people are talking about Matt's body language and just the way how Veth was kind of different at the dinner. Like, especially when Veth was offering to pay. It was... Yeah. I'll try and find it. There was a much better write-up than how I'm describing it, but the idea that, like, Molly was impersonating Veth this entire time. Like, entire time since they got to Isocross, or that night. And I was like, ooh, that's even spookier.
Yeah, that's pretty spicy.
Yeah, and as Liz pointing out in chat, in their defense, it was implied that she's been protected from the wilds, not still in town, because I'm sure even the Nine were assuming that because she's an archmage, she would be able to hinder herself in a civilized location. Nope. Right. Right under their noses, and they were not. And I gotta say, I do feel so bad for Marisha because she was one detail off. It didn't occur to her to think about it literally.
What? Like, that's scary though, right? Because
it is.
Because she can protect herself in a town. Like, she is
she's
an
aware.
Archmaid. She should be strong enough to protect herself. So the fact that Lucian or Kree or whoever is able to kill her in such a manner is scary. Like,
and she was caught by surprise too, so she wasn't unaware.
Yeah.
It's scary to think of what kind of powers being a Nonagon would do.
Right. Exactly. You start to wonder, like, how powerful has Molly actually gotten since we last saw him?
Yeah.
Evidently pretty darn powerful.
I was like looking ahead and reading the future features of his Blood Hunter class, and like, is there anything here that causes people to like bleed out of their eyes and stuff like that?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is obviously his Blood Maledict ability.
Yeah.
Blinds people. So maybe it was just like a more powerful version of that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. That, and also the fact that because they're still shaken up by him suddenly showing up in that room, they didn't know at the time, but they were so fixated on that, as well as his cryptic to Alpha, the Alpha we trek, homeward bound we be. They were so dwelling on that, it didn't occur to them that to link the window to the outside. So for that reason, I feel pretty bad for them realizing it's. But yeah, sometimes you just gotta cut through it with Occam's razor.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that is the way to go. But I remember I was rewatching the scry moment and stuff, and Matt even you described Adam as like an alley-oop and stuff. Even when Matt was describing the scry, he said you feel yourself floating up to the third floor, perhaps. Is that what you're feeling?
Oh my god! He hid the intent and his meaning in plain sight, and none of us realized it until it was too late.
But technically, the only person that would be able to realize that is Jester, since she was the one who was actually feeling the scry and then feeling that like floating sensation. But
and plus she was also so rattled by seeing an old face and a
being recognized.
With all due respect to Taliesin, what the hell was with his accent? I love that he kept giving him shit for it.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's pretty funny. But no, it's. I like too that the Traveler wasn't giving her any help with it either. Like, was that episode where the Traveler's just like, oh, I don't see what happens when you scry. Like, I just do it for you.
I just help you. I just do it for you.
Yeah. Hey, I don't know. I'm just your patron, god person.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
I love Unbound Traveler. I love the Traveler without the threat of
he's
just
a guy.
He's just a guy. He's just like,
he's just chilling.
Even the less trusting people are starting to be a little more tolerant of him because the illusion's gone.
Yeah, we have bigger fish to fry now with Lucian coming back and all that stuff. Yeah, the Traveler is old news. He's
no we already traveled those roads or out to more frozen pastures.
Yep.
Yeah.
Although, so then they went to bed in the tower, none the wiser, and then the very next day, just before they found Veth's body, they have perhaps one of my favorite moments of the episode. Actually, just before that, because throughout the campaign, Veth was trying to keep raising up Caleb on a pedestal, being the leader of the Mighty Nine, and it wasn't until now that he finally put his foot down and said, "No, I'm not a leader. We are all equal. Please don't treat me like a leader."
Yeah.
And she was very respectful. And this was something I was wanting to happen for a very long time. Because, as much as Veth loved Caleb, it was still very, what's the word I'm looking for? Unfair to the others?
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad that Caleb saw that because of the confidence that he'd been building up while during his travels, that he's finally able to say, "No, we're a family."
Yeah.
And it was kind of just like a recurring joke a bit on Sam's part, I think, at this point, like before it was kind of that admiration and that kind of obsessive nature of not, but I feel like more recently it's just, Sam bringing up the joke. But I like that they resolved it in RP. Like that was
and it's true. He did say that to her earlier. Did it take? This time it did. Yeah. I really like that moment of checking in. And speaking of checking in, it was while they're having breakfast. Beau checking up on Yasha because of a very minute reaction that she had noticed during the dinner with Trent. And was she running that far back?
I can't.
To be fair, Yasha did say that sometimes you love them when they're always on your mind. Ironically enough, that reaction was on her mind regarding Yasha.
Yeah,
kind of ironic.
I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't remember stuff.
It's been a while. It's been a while since episode 114. But yeah, that's also when Yasha decided to give Beau the poem that she had written.
Yes. And not just that, but also opened up on the fact that she was still, even to this very day, still deeply traumatized about the Battle of the Chandra, how she almost killed her.
Yeah.
And the fact that, as I was discussing with you, Nico, before we started the podcast, that even right the day after the episode after they saved her, she was like, I wasn't sure if you were evil or not yourself, and then she kept downplaying and whatnot until this moment where she's like, I knew that wasn't you, but yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's that whole thing was sparked because of the telepathy thing that Trent did, and I actually agree. It's disgusting to have someone like him in your head.
Yeah, very invasive.
Yeah, but yeah, just not just that, but the fact that her reaction basically summed up to, no one's given me a poem before. That was so sweet. If you take into the context the fact that she had felt so unloved for a lot of her life, that means a lot to her.
Yeah.
And it was more on that later, because right now a body has been discovered.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to transition to Danganronpa.
Do we think, not jumping into crazy theories just yet, but do we think Trent had some inclination of what was going to happen in the north? Because he was pushing very heavily of like Caleb to some degree joining the Cerberus Assembly, and a lot of the theory was that it was him taking over Trent's position. Do we think that like he had any kind of like wherewithal or any kind of knowledge that there might be danger for Vesterogna up in the north? Like he's been tracking Caleb for a while. Like he would have had some knowledge possibly of Molly and Lucian, or what Veth was doing with the Tomb Takers. Like his whole thing is having spies finding out information. So
right.
I'm wondering if there's any kind of link there.
Yeah, with that being said, the idea of, he has eyes everywhere and stuff. He's almost kind of like Varys from Game of Thrones, the spider.
Yes.
I would not put it past him I would not put it past him to know like almost everything about, the members that Caleb finds himself with. Especially early on in the episodes when they're just getting together and all of that stuff. It would make sense for him to want to research Caleb's companions, and possibly he did find out who Molly was and the connection there. But I feel like it's probably a bit of a stretch. But again, I also at the same time would not be surprised if he kind of thought something like this would happen.
Yeah. That fact, didn't they have a discussion during that dinner about how people could rise up to become a member of the assembly just if someone gets offed or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if they ever found out that Veth is dead, then that leaves an opening.
Yeah. But it could also be a setup for Caleb for like, Trent could be like, I was talking to him like 2 weeks ago about the possibility of like what happens if someone dies and now she's dead and he was there, like, which is very blunt for Trent. Was it Trent?
For Trent.
I did say Trent. Very blunt for Trent.
That being said, though, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But that being said, the whole thing issue with Veth and how they had to quickly hide the evidence of her murder, and I see a lot of discourse about why they're not resurrecting her, and I actually think that the reason why is because of Caduceus' Speak with Dead. They know that she is like Lucian,
Yeah.
trying to become the Nonagon. And you recall what happened the last time someone who was in a position of power within the assembly was a cultist.
Yeah.
Yes, referring to Vince Athelius in Age of Irons. So.
Oh wait, yes, that too. I was thinking of Delilah Briarwood.
Oh, well, that too.
Yeah.
How ironic.
Yeah, Vecna. Vecna happened.
Yeah. How ironic. Two characters who were archmages of antiquity killed by characters once played by Townsend Chaffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I paid Boris who filled that seat now. But yeah, the fact that she is pretty much acquainted with the Eyes of Nine and a cultist at that, trying to gain position of power, that in itself could be a bargaining chip if the Nine's obfuscation of murder was uncovered. Then the fact that they probably don't really care for Veth anyway, so.
Yeah, they're probably gonna kill her eventually, anyways.
Yeah, that and also, so yeah, they might not take much issue with that. They might actually be, oh no, amused and grateful to the Nine that they actually opened up a position and they just like her anyway. But
we don't know who her shit, why can't I ever remember this word? I can never remember the
annex?
second in charge. Yes, thank
annex,
you. We don't know who
second
her annex is, so.
The annexes are basically like their number twos.
Yeah. So we don't know kind of like maybe who would be in position to fill her role, I guess.
We don't quite know now.
Or like, because she's a half elf, she's been there for a little while. Well, she's been there since Delilah Briarwood's been gone, which is like, what, 30 years? 35 years?
30 years. 30 years, give or take.
Which
that and the fact that she had her eye tattoo. What? Sorry, what?
Which isn't super long in relation to, say, like Trent or Ludinus. Like, Ludinus has been there for ever.
Yeah, he's one of the founders.
But that's interesting, because, yeah, I wonder if she's been in this cult, if it is a cult, before she joined, or if it's something like, it's a recent development. Is it always like, is it like a, I don't know, is it like a disease or like a curse? We know nothing about what it means to be a Nonagon.
Right. And I would assume that if she wasn't always a part of this cult, she was probably introduced to it by Molly and the Tomb Takers when they were doing their delving and stuff.
For all we know, Cree has the tattoos as well. We just don't see it because she's covered in fur. But like,
and in the case of Veth, she hit it with a glamour.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting how they're gonna handle this because, I mean, based on the forgery work yesterday, I think they're okay. They managed to make it vague enough so that even if she's not there, they have a note that says that she left on business, and if they need to get a hold of her, they should ask the Mighty Nine to send a message. So that vagueness alone may have actually saved them and bought them some valuable time. But we'll see.
Yeah, that whole like kind of are they going to bring her back? I was like, yeah, I could see it for them not to get in trouble, but at the same time, like, she's so evil.
She's a threat.
Yeah, I'm okay with them keeping her dead. That's
keep her so that they have her. Like, I'm glad they didn't just leave her. I'm glad that they brought her with them because that kind of makes more sense.
Well, if they had dine and dash, so to speak, that would have been pretty sus of them.
That would be way worse. Yeah.
That and the fact that even if they hadn't bounced and she was still there, they would have had to take part in the investigation and spend time being questioned, and it would have done even more.
Yeah, I'm so glad they just got out onto the ice.
Yeah.
I was like,
that and the fact that even if they managed to resurrect her, is it? When you speak with Dead, wouldn't that mean she knows that they grilled her for information?
No, it's
it's the remains
like a
talking
facsimile of life.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't actually have any kind of semblance of the soul.
Yeah, that's right. It's the remains talking, not the soul. But still, regardless, the fact that even if Veth was resurrected, she's still a threat because
she'd be like, "You are my bodyguards, and you let me die."
Yeah. Well, that the fact that even if she was still with them, and they end up dealing with Lucian and the Tomb Takers, Who says that she wouldn't take any opening she'd get at becoming a Nonagon herself?
Yeah.
Who says she can be revived normally?
That's true as well. I mean, we don't know. We don't know what happened with the ritual. That and also the fact that it was her who technically created Molly Mock. So yeah, that's another strike against her.
Oh God, what if they eventually bury Vesta Rogner and Campaign 3 comes around and there's like a female half-elf wizard wandering around confused.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
He's got these strange eye tattoos.
Campaign 3.
Oh my God. But that's a good point that you bring up. Is what are all of these things that are happening now? These characters that are being introduced, these events that are happening, that are gonna have like appearances in Campaign 3, like little cameos. Because I mean, we've had some Campaign 1 cameos in this campaign so far that are really nice to see. But now it's like I'm excited to see what
Captain
Easter eggs
Adela,
we'll see in the
Camp
third
Plucker,
campaign.
Yeah, Captain Adela, Camp Plucker, Villia, and Allura. Well, no, Villia was technically mentioned once, so yeah. But yeah, it is going to be very interesting, especially given Matt's penchant of trying to keep the campaigns separate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I respect that, because if Vox Machina were just brought in, the campaign would just be over.
Yeah.
It's this is the 9 story, not theirs.
Well, it's like the argument of, well, when Vox Machina were battling Vecna, where was the Cerberus Assembly? Like, they could have swooped in and helped out a ton, but...
Well, to be fair, I believe in the lore, Dwendal pretty much said that, not our situation, not our problem.
Like, it'd be the same with, like, Vox Machina. Like, they'd be like, oh, we're retired. Like,
yeah.
If you think about
a Nonagon? Nah.
A Nonagon? That's not for me. No, I'm building a clock.
If you think about it, it's practically Dwendal's fault, because they end up letting Delilah escape, that we end up dealing with Vecna in the first place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that's a good point.
Actions have consequences.
Yeah.
Not if you're royalty. Apparently.
It happens. It's just a little more delayed.
I want more of King Dwendal. I want that to come back, because that was such a huge thing when it happened.
Yeah.
They're meeting with him.
That scene was terrifying, though.
He was not cool.
No.
Like, he made me so uncomfortable, but I wanted to see more of him. Like, that was like.
And I absolutely loved Berisha as Beauregard, actually, despite some hiccups, managing to hold her own and talking to the freaking king himself without breaking stride.
Yeah.
Especially with lots of fucking beacon back, and that comment alone pretty much forced the assembly's hand, which led to the peace talk. So, kudos, Expositor Lionette.
Yeah, it was like
It's amazing.
It was just cool. Like, it was just a fun character, because I love it when, well, I hate it, but whenever Matt gets into that kind of really stern or like controlling character, and you're just like, oh no, bring Matt back.
Yeah.
Like, this is scary. I don't like this Matt. I want regular Matt back. But he plays those characters so well, and it's just like you fully believe he's those characters.
Even the grossest of people, like Howard Darrington or Thoreau Lionette.
Yeah.
Bad dads.
And even he had to admit that they were gross, and But so anyway, they hid the murder. They cleaned up the crime scene. They stored her body in the freaking vault of Amber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably the best place they could put it.
Like, should we?
Well, unless they went to an anti-magic field or something like that. Well, but we'll see.
But I guess one sort of last thing we can talk about with episode 114 is the new found information we have around Molly and the Tomb Takers and the Nonagon. We got some interesting words. The Cognosa. The Nonagon is basically a vessel for this being. I think. Yeah. I guess.
Yeah. What were those terms? You wrote them down.
There was The Nonagon is a vessel for the Cognosa. And their job is to free the Somnovan? The Somnovem?
Yeah.
A whole lot of stuff that we have no idea about.
Cognosa, to me, sounds like a bunch of mines. Like, and I don't know if that's thinking of what the city is, but it sounds like they are. I'm getting. Oh, what's this remind me of? There's a book or a show or something I watched recently where it's like they have the the souls of like thousands of people in them, something like that. But it's like, yeah, they're the vessel for the hive mind. That what with the
to free the Somnovum.
Somnovum.
So it sounds like Sleeping Nine. To free the Sleeping Nine?
Sleeping Nine. Novum.
It does sound. It is very Lovecraftian. I'm getting a lot of Lovecraftian vibes from this whole thing.
Nine.
Oh yeah.
From Nolan.
But
the Sleeping Nine. So is that like? Oh jeez.
I know. It's really hard to like break these down because it's so like esoteric. We have no idea what these could be. We've never heard of them before.
Yeah, it's hard to put together the whole love when we only have the most minuscule crumbs.
Yeah.
I will say though, I am so glad that Marisha's big old tinfoil hat theory was mostly proven correct.
Yeah.
God bless her.
Yeah. It is starting to look very like the stuff Molly is a part of is this strange moving city in the astral sea.
I was just looking up Tharizdun because I'm like,
Aor, we don't know.
I was just looking up Tharizdun because I'm like, oh, they've got like a symbol. I wonder if it's 9-sided. No, it's only 7-sided. It's fine.
And I still wonder what the heck is with Ruidus. That.
Oh, the moon.
Yes, the red moon technically.
Yeah.
I think it's an elder evil.
Possibly.
I think what they're fighting is an elder evil. I think the city's going to be an elder evil, which is going to be cool. But
what's an elder evil?
So it's like something that Matt. Well, it's something that's been around in D&D for a while, but it's something that Matt's kind of fleshed out a bit of. They're not gods necessarily. They're just these super powerful entities from pre-Calamity that were locked away pre-Calamity.
Kind of like the Titans.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Titans, yeah. If you think of like the Greek gods as the gods, the pantheon, the Titans, are like the elder evils, but they're just these forms of malice and hate and evil that can't really be controlled. Like there's a lot of liches and there's a lot like Tharizdun is an elder evil. It's just this incomprehensible mass of evil. Oh wow, Cat's now with the breakdown of the word. I like it. But yeah, they're like just these super old, evil things. There's a better description.
Oh, zombie girl. What if Ruidus is the chained oblivion and all the shackles are released? He'll fall back to Xandria. Yeah, oh, so basically Ruidus is basically like an egg.
I'm fairly sure we've said that on the show before. That's a legit theory. I've thought it was an egg for a while. Not an egg. Could be an egg. But, you know.
But yeah, they actually hid the body, hid the crime, and hopefully none the wiser. They went off with Dagon to the plains of Ice across prop.
Yeah, I suppose we can start moving into episode 115 since we really just have to wait for more answers. Hopefully next week we get some more answers from Molly himself.
We'll see.
But oh boy.
Yeah.
And then. Speaking of moving into episode 115, but what I want to talk about quickly is in episode 14 we had two setups. We had the setup of Yasha giving Beau the poem, and we also had the setup of Jester asking Caleb to read the Zemnian story to her. God. And we got both of those in the very next episode, which was really nice, setup, and then getting the
goes out of the way right now. Especially you, Nico, being a big old Widow Just stan.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm calling you out. Hey, you're a Widow Just stan, I'm a Beau Yasha stan, so it's only fair.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll talk about. Well, to be fair, we'll talk about with their Captain Prince first. Liam wrote that book.
He wrote it that day.
I know.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Like I when he was like reading it, I'm like, okay, he definitely wrote this. But I thought maybe he wrote it like when he had first introduced like Der Katzenprinz when he was describing the different books on the table. I didn't think he actually wrote it that very same day. Like that's actually crazy.
Yeah, it's not unlike when Marisha did the whole gramophone recording for Hazel Cottonpot in Darrington Brigade one shot. I think she had said she did that as well the very same day.
Yeah.
And Tails was like, Jesus! That was amazing in itself. But yeah. What the hell?
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Just the Widow Jests and the Beau Yashas were feasting last episode. It was just wonderful. And I love all of the fan art that's already coming out of it all. It's
I know.
It's so good.
And I also big shout out to Crit Roll Stats, who actually did a full-on transcript of those two. Yeah, and it's on their live tweets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all amazing. But yeah, now going into the poem, or should I say, love letter, because it was originally
turned out to not be quite a poem.
It was practically a love letter.
It was a poem for Yasha.
It made more sense. Yeah.
Yeah, it was basically to play on the previous episode's title, an open window into her soul.
Yeah.
And I think based on her reactions, I think Beau totally understood. She knew that this was Yasha confessing her feelings.
Yeah.
And do you blame her for being overwhelmed? Like I said, she's felt unloved her whole life, and she just got told in a letter that someone loves her deeply. Yeah. And it's like,
I do like, now this is the second letter Beau's technically gotten from someone like she cares about or who cares about her, and it's like got so much stuff crossed out, like to begin with. Because you remember the letter Keg left with the letter, and it crossed out like all this nice stuff. It's just like, thanks. I like that. That's her effect on women. Like it's just no one don't know how to express themselves to her because she's
also okay bounced as well. And back in the day, it was back when she was still using sex as a band-aid and hiding her deep-seated of fear of being alone. So compare that to now, and whew.
Jet Vulcan, I 100% get that. The bath and the strawberries and the wine. Like she's just like preparing herself for the read.
Yeah, she gotta be prepared.
But
it was
it
was a lovely letter.
Yeah, that reminds me. I think Linzer Art actually did a little bit of a fan art where she is reading that letter, but it was a few days before this episode. But
nice.
It still was good. I think I have it in my history. It was so great.
It was a lovely scene.
It was.
It was a nice break from. It's nice to have those small like beats in the story where it's a break from like the chaos and we can forget about all of the crazy stuff that's going on and we can just enjoy like a very lovely scene. Such as Beau reading the poem and then the story.
It makes me wonder when there's going to be, like, not so much payoff, but when the next step of that kind of relationship is going to be, because it feels like they're getting into dungeon crawl or potentially like fight territory.
And the fact that the fact that because of current circumstances, it's going to be a bit delayed because they got other pressing matters, but still, she's aware, and Jester may be a bit aware. We don't know. She's actually very hard to read. Surprisingly.
Yeah. But one thing I loved about that the story scene was, not only was it nice to see Jester's and Laura's reaction to Caleb and Liam reading it, but also seeing the rest of the cast just like listening intently at this story that he wrote. It was just very, very nice. Very nice to see.
And meeting a cat prince, that is very very possible.
I was 100% waiting for it to be like a horrible Grimm's brother story of like, and the cat prince, and you turned into a cat, and you're stuck here with us forever, sort of thing. Like, you shouldn't have left home, little boy. Like, I was ready for that.
Yeah.
But
that was a very, very thought out, very deliberate action on Caleb's part. Not so much with the certain thing they found in the frozen fields.
Oh,
that.
Yes. The
segue. I'm getting good at that.
the stone obelisk that they just had to.
That was amazing. That might be one of my favorite scenes.
He was so fixated on getting that emerald. He was so green with envy.
Yeah.
That was so much fun. They almost died. Like, I'm wondering if that was like literally
it was a chaos. Yeah, where's that damn fourth chaos emerald?
Similar thing of like, had it dropped them to 0 if they would have died. Like if it was a.
It was circle.
Considering
Death,
it was
actually.
necromantic, I'm sure it was like a you are dead. You are bye.
Yeah, probably a big old super circle of death because they had the 60-foot radius.
Yeah, but it made me. It was interesting. I think I want to know more about like the coins that had been taken and the fact that there was this one that was like low down. Or was there ever anything else in those holes, or was this just like a thing to pull from? And the fact that was it in like a big purple crystal? Is that how Matt described it? Was that
it was an emerald, right?
No. The monolith it was in.
I don't know exactly. I think I missed that detail.
Because this is very mild spoiler from the Explorer's Guide, because I did look it up. Very mild spoiler, but if you don't want to hear it, stop listening for like 30 seconds. But the Alwak Sanctuary, which is where the Yetis are from, it talks about a similar kind of obelisk with like gems of power in it, which is what caused them to gain their intelligence. And it's something that fell from Aor. So I'm wondering if there's like something to do with the actual physical structure of Aor itself has these strong magical artifacts. Like, I mean, obviously it does. That's why they go in there. But like, I think that's going to be kind of cool. Like, I want to know what it was. I wanted them to get it so bad.
Yeah.
And just having a little wayward piece of it, just having to land in that spot and be trapped.
Yeah, I love how they're just like, this was a random dice roll. Like,
I know.
we didn't know about this.
But stuff like that, like little encounters like this, like with the obelisk and stuff, are one of my favorite things about Dungeons and Dragons. That it just completely sidetracks the party.
Yep.
Just because it's something that looks cool. And we gotta check it out. I love these scenes in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. And of all the people, it was Beau being the most sensible. Actually quoting Dagon's advice of actually quoting Dagon's advice of sometimes scavenging's not worth it. She was being the sensible one. Caleb, for being 20 intelligence, was being the upset me.
Yeah.
But that was so funny.
I got flashbacks to when they were dealing with the bandits for the 3rd time. Where like Noth and Jess were running around doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and like Beau and Yasha were just on a hill, just drinking. This is what they're doing.
Speaking of which, when they decided, we were thinking, should have Yasha grab dispel with her sword, and she was like, "I'm not gonna have Yasha hit that thing with her sword." And that was before the poem love letter thing.
Yeah. It was great. It was a fun scene.
Yeah, Caleb just getting super frustrated. Like,
yeah.
Even after failed to spell magic, like, I kill Volgodo, not you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Defeated by a little emerald.
Like I said, green with envy.
Who would win, a Markoth or a little green boy?
Well, the green boy.
Apparently, the little green boy.
And it was great what they were saying about Jester, like when she put like big emerald here with the arrow. Like, that's like the most like kind of.
I know. I was like,
dodgy
wait.
thing you've done. Yeah, that's not cool. That's like really dangerous.
Even Caleb was like, Jester, that's murder.
That's not murder. That's chaotic neutral.
Yeah. He's like, JK. Like, that's more confusing.
Yeah. Have they learned nothing from Henry Crabgrass? Please.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also the fact that sorry, what?
You go.
Okay, but yeah, going up even before then, I think they were camping for the first night, and that's when Ford discovered through sea invisibility that Lucian's been scrying on them, specifically on Jester, which I think that is what he was referring to with having found the set, because Jester was scrying on him.
Yeah.
And because she scryed on him, that's when it created some sort of tether, some sort of lingering scent for him to track her, and thus leading him directly to Veth.
I'm still kind of a little bit on board with it being blood magic. Like, I think the blood magic is involved somehow. I think they're on the right track with saying that maybe there was some blood missing from their vials. And because I think Travis rolled like 12, and Matt's like, you're kind of there. Oh no, it wasn't Matt. It wasn't Travis that rolled, but someone rolled like a 12, and Matt's like, yeah, kind of. And Travis is like, yeah, that's it. That's the reason.
It was Laura.
Yeah. But
she was trying to figure out if the blow was fake.
I think maybe the scrying on Jester is because she's the one that's made contact.
That's exactly why I said that. Because of that, he was able to establish some kind of scent.
Yeah.
Even when she was not scrying.
Yeah. Connor Brad just brought up the Hobbit joke, which was amazing.
I'll admit that at first that flew over my head. It was...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Of course.
That was a lot of fun.
But someone in chat earlier on in the stream said that what if it was actually a Sharnai that was scrying?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that. I was like,
it's possible. Also, Laura didn't remember. Also, Laura did not remember, but it wasn't the first time that someone interacted with her through a scry. It was a Sharnai the first time, but she didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Probably not a Sharnai, but it's kind of a cool thing to think about.
Yeah.
Like, ooh, what if it was?
That is still very much a...
Yeah,
in the heat of the moment, it would be easy to think it could have been, but no, I think it was definitely Lucian or Kree.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, because Kree's a cleric; she could scry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's an interesting.
Yeah, fitting enough, she's a tabaxi, and of course, being a tabaxi with kind of keen sense or whatever, she would be able to lock onto someone's scent.
Yeah, well, she's a blood cleric. So
and a tabaxi. That's a very lethal combination if you're trying to stay hidden.
Is blood cleric a homebrew, or is that an actual?
Yeah, it was in the Tal'Dorei guide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I just like the idea of how she's a tabaxi with a very keen sense in perception and a blood cleric where she could track people through their blood. That is like a match made in the Nine Hells.
Yeah. Did they come across? Did Vox Machina come across a blood cleric?
They did not. They did not. I don't. Not to my knowledge, no.
Building up the claret orders for a while, Matt. Like that's something I think is. But like, I'm wondering if that's actually a.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think they themselves encountered a blood cleric or anything from claret orders, which of course is the. Is it a spoiler to mention that they were derived from?
They're just a guild in Exandria.
Yeah, I'm just saying that. Very, very mild spoiler, but I believe if I recall, they actually were the original sect that the Tomb Takers split from.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's safe enough to say. I think even the Nine don't have quite have made that connection yet. Yeah, but yeah, spying on her, realizing that it could very well be him. What was it? Oh yeah, also the fact that they were trying to experiment with when Matt could get scared. That first night being a learning experience, and then using the tower. Yeah. And then that brought us to more random days of travel, leading to Yetis.
Yeah, yeah. I had to think for a bit because Matt's like, you've fought these before. I was like, when? When did they fight Yetis? And then like,
right, it was Geladon.
It was outside Mythborough, which I heard a lot of people would be like, ooh, what if they encountered them here in Isocross? But I recall, Mythborough was like on the far end, like far eastern end of Isocross. Very far removed from Aor and other places. So
you say a lot of people. That was us.
Yeah, you guys do it. Yeah, I don't think she's gonna be a factor unless she's trying very, very hard to pick their scent.
Yeah.
That, and she might just, stick to her.
She might, I mean, also, that alien artifact she had in her leg could have been a piece of ale. Like, she might travel to Isocross to collect stuff.
That is very true. Yes. So it is possible they might see her again, but thankfully, unlike last time, they're a bit stronger than before.
They're at the point where they could probably fight an ancient white dragon.
Well, to be fair, Miles Spoilers of Campaign 1, Vox Machina was like level. Actually, no, that is very true. They were like relatively level 15, 15 or so when they fought against Vorgal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That tracks. They had 8th level spells by then, and the 9 are currently level 13. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Well,
They
we'll
fought
see.
ancient dragons before
Well, yeah,
Voragol,
as
and white
Vagina.
dragons are generally not so much the weakest, but the easier
Mhm.
ones to fight.
They're the most basic-minded and feral.
Yeah.
Right, and super petty when it comes to people messing with their stuff. So
Stealing their
that's
Being
why
given
again I wouldn't
bribes.
put it past Matt to bring Geladon back, but
It'd just be
Or
amazing for the return boat trip where they're like
Yeah.
expecting Avantika and Ukatoro again. It's like, nope, it's the dragon.
Yep,
You're fighting
this
the dragon on a
time.
boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that and also the fact when Kat tried to bribe her with 7 platinum, she took
Yeah.
very big offense at that.
yeah,
That was the best.
I just
Oh,
throw 7
sorry.
platinum. I'm so sorry about this.
That was amazing.
Galadon's like, fool, that wouldn't be enough for a dowry.
Yeah,
But yeah,
what do you take
Hell's
me
half
for?
Hell's half fury like a white dragon scorned.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, but of course I love the fact that Marisha made the connection between Nightmare and Ivory and being like a woman pretty much left behind at the altar.
yeah, because she was Voragol's mate.
But they're going into some kind of a courtship. Before it could
Yeah.
develop further, he was slain.
Yeah.
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 Pretty
Well.
pretty unlucky. But I loved the fight with the Yetis and how like they slowly realized like,
Yeah.
wait, these Yetis are like intelligent and
Yeah.
have feelings.
That was a fun
At
callback.
first, at first I was a little concerned because I thought it was gonna be another repeat of what happened with the specters outside of the on Rumblecusp and whatnot, and Marisha and Bell was having another crisis of friendship. Oh, not this again.
Yeah.
But I think
No.
her reading the letter from Yasha maybe given her a little bit of confidence in trying to de-escalate the situation. That's why when she heard that him saying stop, that she was like, okay, I'll try to be more diplomatic, and to her relief, that she started working.
Yeah. That was like Marisha said that out loud. She's just like, why is it me again? Why do I have to make the decision of like whether or not we
everyone was
stop?
working her.
I thought it was great because like that was a choice that was made on the island, so it was nice that
a choice.
I appreciate how Matt presents different combat opportunities for them to like
that
resolve
one
them.
time. Yeah, that one time though, purely out of miscommunication, which was
Oh yeah,
unpleasant, but I had to dwell on
that's
it.
fine. Like that was hilarious.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, I love the Yetis. I thought they were incredible.
Yeah.
I thought the fight was cool. I thought the fight was going really cool with the like the chilling gazes and the mammoth appearing.
I love the running gag of that fight with Veth being snow.
Yes,
just being
I'm
snow.
snow. No, you're not.
Yeah. To the point of being called snow.
Yeah, finding the limitations of a rogue sneak ability.
Yeah, like
you can't
just because you're hiding
drop-
under the table doesn't mean they don't know you're there.
Yeah, yeah. it was
And
wonderful.
also Veth's first users of the core cut dagger, which apparently is cursed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm excited for that to become a problem.
Yeah.
Well,
And I feel like Veth is the perfect character to have a cursed item as well.
Yeah.
Oh
Something
yeah,
that is
especially with
apparently
her.
from the sounds of it so far, it sounds like it's something that like obviously, well, a lot of cursed items don't want to be let go, but like it's going to be some kind of obsessive,
Yeah.
Kind of feeding
compulsion
to her
thing that
desire
they
for vigilante justice and punishment, maybe.
That's kind of cool.
That-
yeah.
That's gonna be a
But
problem.
it sucks from you too, which was very similar to what the other sword did. Don't tell me. I know its name.
The one that Grog
I
had?
can't pick one. Yeah.
Craven
yeah.
Edge?
Craven Edge, yeah.
Craven
man,
Edge,
I'm
it could be
bad
Craven
at
Edge or the
names.
Sword of Cass.
Everyone in chat got it before me.
Yeah,
No,
it
Craven
was
Edge.
Craven Edge. It was Craven
Craven
Edge.
Because Craven Edge was like,
and also the Sword of Cass.
yeah. The Sword of Cast is kind of like a different kind of curse. It's like more of
But he still
more
didn't want to be let go.
personality. But yeah, Craven's Edge was like, if you don't damage other things, I'm gonna take it from you.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
core cut tag is kind of doing that on the label. It's like,
Yeah.
if you damage,
I am
take
literally
it.
taking away your life force.
Your vitality, yeah.
And speaking of it, I felt so I was horrified when that happened to Grog.
Yeah.
I was like,
I was,
all because he didn't sleep.
campaign 1 spoilers, but that's Grog's first death in that scene.
Second death, first being Cavern.
Did he go down?
Yes.
No,
he was killed by. He was killed. He was prevented from dying by Death Ward, and then he was hit again and died. And Pike had to use Revivify.
Okay. Fair enough.
I can't even remember he's that
Does
good.
Yasha? Is it the Zealot Barbarian that, like, when they die, they don't die?
Yes. No. Well, that's level 14 Rage Beyond Death, but they do have that feature where, Blessed by the Gods, where they are actually able to be revived without needing diamonds.
Oh, that's what it. Yeah, that's what it was.
And Ford's got the drop to. If you drop to 0, you drop to 1 instead.
Relentless endurance.
Yeah.
Saved his ass a few times.
Separate from Stone's endurance, which is is Goliath.
Also, speaking of which, a very, very mild sidebar. They actually updated the Goliath, so they're now resistant to cold damage. That was one of the various cleanup errata that they did.
Interesting. What was the reasoning for that? Because I like the idea of them being kind of like mountain folk.
Yeah, I think it was just one of the recent rewrites, reprints. There we go. That's the correct term. Reprints.
Okay.
That they were doing some cleanup. But yeah, they managed to de-escalate it, but not before one of the Yetis went down because poor Caduceus. He was too dumb as a mammoth to realize what was going on. But thank gods for Yasha, who managed to revive him with healing, and he's like, "Are we fucking done?"
Yeah.
But what I liked about, because in the payoff of stopping the fight and taking a more diplomatic approach was that they were able to be escorted by these Yetis for the next, day. Similarly, really cool. With the sea creature that they encountered.
They're making friends.
They're making friends with the locals.
They're making friends. They're like doing the right things.
And of course, invited the Yetis to the tower.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
That was so cute.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
And one of them has a diary.
Oh yeah, that little diary moment.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was so cute.
Asking a stranger to see all their secrets.
They were really cool additions.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do wonder, what was that last entry that Beau wrote? Do you think it was about the letter?
Sorry, what was that? Oh, right.
Yeah, her last entry in her own journal/diary. You think it was about the letter she got?
Yeah.
Probably.
That was probably why she wanted to share it, to see if he had insight on that. Too bad her persuasion check failed, but she also was quick to bounce back and say, "No, I understand your privacy."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It's cool. I like that. I like them. I'm liking Isocross. I like journeying episodes. I like when they're in the wilderness and they roll tables. I'm terrified now that they're seemingly entering a cave. And that's my question, because my thing was like, 2 episodes ago, my thing was like, yeah, they're going to travel this long way with Veth. They're going to get to Aeol. That's where the confrontation's going to be. Aeol's going to be this, like, literally a massive city for them to explore. So I'm wondering if they're even going to get to Aeol, or if this is going to be the confrontation in Isocross. Like, if it's going to be get to this one particular site, like deal with Lucian, or like come to some kind of confrontation with Lucian. Is it then going to go further? Is this going to be like
And on that note, even Beau brought up a good point. They have no idea what they're doing, because at first they're just here just to escort Veth for some archaeological research and whatnot. But she's gone, and then suddenly they find out that Lucian and the Takers are back together.
The initial goal of the mission was to get close to members of the Cerberus Assembly. Like, this was part of Caleb's story. It was to get in. And that's gone out.
Technically now Veth is closer than she's ever been with Caleb being inside his necklace. So
Close to the bird.
But
I'd say mission accomplished.
It's super concerning. It's super concerning that they're going into this. The fact that Lucian is so confident and wants them to come. They sound like, it's a trap, but like, I don't know if it's a trap. It sounds like an invitation.
I feel like he's being genuine. Like, it's really like there's nothing.
I don't think he's lying. It's definitely not Molly, because he's too.
Right.
There's no there's feeling. There's a lot of emotion. He's enigmatic, but there's no like kind of, I feel like, recognition when he's talking to Jester. Like, There's none of that, any kind of playfulness or anything. It's very much, it sounds like this kind of leader of this group. But I found it interesting too when they sent the message was the fact that it was Kree and his voice mingled. I'm wondering if it was like some kind of dual sending spell, or like if he was hijacking Kree's sending spell. That's what I thought as soon as Matt said. I was like, "Ooh, is like she's casting the spell, but he's speaking." But I'd be interested to know more on like what they're. Maybe she's a Nonagon. Maybe they can link spells. Like I don't know.
But what I'm most excited for is because, I mean, since we've gotten the reveal of Molly, the biggest thing that's been at the back of everyone's minds is how is the party going to react when they actually see him again physically in person. And specifically Yasha, like what is Yasha gonna do when they step into the cavern, and Lucian steps forward and Yasha sees Molly for the first time since he died. What are all their reactions gonna be?
Not just Yasha though. Because Beau saw him die right in front of her.
Yeah.
And she, to this day, still views that as being one of her greatest failings and regrets. And plus the fact that everyone's just reluctant to even think of him as anyone other than Molly. Part of some are already being rather split. Some of them think that it could still be Molly. There's still something to save. Some of them feel like he's already all evil and whatnot. But Beauregard in particular, she was being the most neutral.
I get the sense that like Ford is very much like he said as much. Like he's very much about the kind of if this isn't Molly, this is something different. He's very quick with the kind of like, well, he's against us now. Like he's not a part of us now. And I think maybe Caleb's of a similar mindset. But yeah, Beauregard has like she's always like that though, and it's incredible because she's just that very. She can take control when she needs to. Like she knows what she's talking about, and it was that I was getting frustrated in that conversation at the end because they were all saying the same thing. It's just they couldn't.
Caleb in particular wouldn't let go of her wording of join them.
Oh, but, yeah, that was frustrating a bit. I was just like, no, you're all on the same page.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you're on the same side here. It's just semantics at this point.
Yeah. And the thing is, he was also mistaking those semantics as optimism. It's not optimism, it's caution on her part. And to be fair, it's no different from Avantika, where they were just cooperating with her, tagging along, sussing her out, trying to figure out her motives. And also not much different from Oban in the King's Cage, because they practically were handing Yasha a silver platter to
That was their plan, they're like, oh, the orphan maker is here. Like, God, that went bad. That went so bad.
Yeah, and the end she went in there.
It went a little too according to plan.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Beau in particular, she's recognizing that, okay, maybe it's not an ambush for some convincing, but also it's like, she wants to join them, and by join them, she meant tagging along. She wants to know more about what's going on. That's what she's trying to do as an expositor. In fact, she even said at one point to King Dwendal, "I learned in my line of work that in order to learn more about the enemy, sometimes you get close to them. That's pretty much what the expositors have to do sometimes, is infiltrate and mingle with enemies or even dubious third parties. That is what they are supposed to do."
But now,
which is why it's so frustrating when they're not quite getting that. Not to mention the fact that it's an old friend wearing, well, not the face of an old friend, and that's really fucked them up.
But now here's the thing. Because Matt has constructed this campaign to be more morally gray than the first campaign, it seems like most of the party is already writing off what Molly's doing as evil. What if what they're actually doing isn't necessarily evil? It just has that sort of air about it because it just all looks and sounds very, very sketchy. But it could very well just be some kind of like this like neutral entity that they just worship. We just don't know. We don't know enough, but it's very possible that this is going to be another one of those morally gray scenarios.
Yeah, that is just the whole crux of the matter, actually, Nico, because they don't know anything, and knowing that they have all the cards, why would they want to ambush them if they're being invited to just tag along and find out? that's what Beau wants to do, both as an explorer and just because as an inquisitive human being, she just wants to know. Plus, maybe some small part of her wants to find out if Molly is gone, or maybe there's some small part of him that's left. She's also being hung up about the fact that not only did Molly die in front of her and she failed to save him, but also the fact that she failed to piece together that one last detail about Veth's death. She hates not knowing, so she wants to know. And therefore, what better way to do so than to tag along? And talk, suss them out, find out what they're up to, and if it turns out to be bad, then they'll attack. But for now, just talk to them. And a lot of the party was just slow to understand, but I think Caleb just wasn't understanding it. He just left mid-discussion. And you know what hurt the most about that moment? Is right before the episode ended, Caleb was in the prep division, and he uses Ford's shoulder for support, not hers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he put his hand on Ford's shoulder when going to Frumkin Vision.
That could have been just, I think, maybe like a...
Well,
I mean, Caleb did say he walked off, so I don't think Caleb would then run back just to put his hand on Beauregard's shoulder.
Yeah, you the mother. This is stupid.
Yeah.
I have a bad feeling about this.
I definitely don't have a good one.
Yeah, I don't think I necessarily have a bad feeling. I really want to see that reunion of Lucian and the party. I really want to see how that's going to play out. And if Lucian actually does recognize and remember the party, he's just Lucian now, and like those memories of Molly are sort of just, in the back of his mind, since that wasn't really him.
I think my ideal hope for this is if it's Lucian, but he still retains Molly's memories, and therefore he might. I mean, he only killed Veth. He didn't go after the 9, so. Yeah. And plus he sounded
right, like his qualms aren't with the 9, like.
Exactly. But that being said, though, it is still worrisome because the party is already feeling fractured as is because of this sudden reveal and the fact that he is alive, but it's not the person they knew. So that's going to lead to a lot of bad vibes.
Yeah, most likely.
A lot of conflict. But also maybe a chance for them to actually, I don't know, check in on each other like they should be doing. But let's see.
They always need a good catch-in section. I don't know, Alana, what are you most looking forward to with this upcoming reunion?
I was just thinking about the King's Cage again and how awful that was.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about the last minute. Sorry, I was just
No, you're good. You're good.
And I love the fact that Beau used the King's Cage in direct comparison to this, especially since she had just read that letter from Yasha, and she had heard from Yasha herself about how painful it was for her to be under his control, and being aware but not knowing anything, not being in control, but being aware.
Yeah. And
that plus the letter probably crystallized in her head that this is just like the King's Cage. She does not want to lose her again, which her more that. Did you know that conversation I had in the bar fields, that was 3 days before the King's Cage. Right before she was taken from them.
Yeah.
3 days.
Oh, shitty. Massively shitty. But yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it because I love any kind of major plot advancement. Like I said, I do enjoy the traveling through the wilderness and kind of the fun encounters, but I think it's been, we've been waiting for Isocross for ages, and now they're kind of here. I'm hoping we get to see some cool magical crap. Some like remnants of Aor's power, and then obviously a confrontation with Lucian. I just want to know more. Like I hope, just beyond hope. I know it's not how narratives normally work, but just like, hey, we have these 5 questions, and he's like, yes, I will answer them in full detail for you.
I know.
But
I mean, that's a good point you bring up. I have a feeling next week's episode is gonna be like 50+% like exposition, just like feeding information to the party.
That and hopefully them actually processing what the plan is, because the way that ended was, as we've said, very unpleasant and frustrating.
I think it might be a dungeon crawl. I think it might be a bit of like moving through this cavern for a while, and maybe not getting to Lucian either at break or even towards the end of the episode.
I could see that happen as well.
Yeah.
But I'm also hoping for a lot more check-ins because it's quite clear that the party is starting to fracture a bit because of this situation, and I'm just worried because it is very possible it could be Cage 2.0. We don't know for sure, but then again,
it does feel like there's some.
What if someone in the Mighty Nine's a Nonagon and they don't even know it?
Ah.
What is a Nonagon? I just want to know.
I know.
Little do we know that Lucian actually had another personality, a reincarnation of Larkin.
Yeah.
It all just comes back to Larkin.
Yeah.
Yes.
How could
that's
we
all,
not
that's
see
all
this
laughing about
coming?
when Dagon turned up. I'm like, oh, it's
no,
Larkin.
Larkin's a big bad. He can. I mean, he's been hidden this whole time.
Yeah. I feel like at this point though, like a Larkin like reveal in any sense wouldn't even like we'd be like, okay, cool, we already knew he was gonna come up. What is a cognosa? What is all this stuff? It's kind of like when earlier this year when NASA was like, oh yeah, by the way, aliens are real. We were like, okay, yeah, we already know. We don't care. There's more pressing things to worry about right now.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, apparently there's water on the moon.
Yeah.
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 I missed the alien announcement, by the way. My brother told me, and I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get out. Yeah.
What, you mean they announced something we already knew?
No, that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited for like a dungeon crawl because it's been a while since they've had
a good dungeon crawl.
The closest thing they had was maybe obviously going back into the folding halls. That's kind of like that's a dungeon crawl machine.
Yeah.
The other kind of crawl I think that was the last dungeon crawl they had before.
Well, the closest thing would be like maybe going through Vokodo's lair, but that wasn't really like rooms
that doesn't
or
quite
anything
count.
like that.
Well, but technically you can also count Rumblecusp as being one big dungeon crawl. It's just over a whole island.
Yeah, open air dungeon.
With the added danger of memory loss every long rest.
Yeah, the danger wasn't as present as I hoped it would be because they just use restoration spells.
Well, we got a nice Caleb moment out of it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, him being happy for a brief moment, but there's also the fact that they were in danger of running out of.
And they're a powerful party.
Yeah.
But yeah, the ideal outcome is that maybe, hopefully, Lucy would have Molly's memories as well, and upon seeing them, maybe he will be a little bit more amicable and actually explain things.
Maybe that's why he is.
What?
Because you got to think a leader like this, or someone that's in this kind of weird blood cult, messing with Vesterogna, creepy floating city. He's really kind of friendly in his messages. Like, maybe he does have the memories still. Yeah.
Which is why I'm gonna be so sad if someone like Caleb just jumps the gun and thinks, nope, we can't trust you, and that's a big fight's gonna break out. And
maybe someone in chat knows, maybe Lynn knows, or maybe you guys know. How long did they spend with Molly? Like, I know Yasha and Molly were together for like 2 years.
A month, maybe 2.
But yeah, it wasn't super long. But I know, like, you know, bonding through combat and bonding through trials, but it wasn't super long.
Yeah, it was rough. It was rough. It was between 1 and 2 months.
Yeah.
Actually, I could actually look up on the Wildmount calendar.
I do. Yeah. Kat Kessner brought up like the Bright Queen existed before the Divergence. Yeah, they she would be a great person to ask about like these sorts of things, but I understand them also wanting to keep it close to the chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
About a month. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know it wasn't super long. I know they spent like some time in Zadash. Probably a bit over a month, I imagine, because they traveled.
And speaking of which, according to the calendar, they actually ended on the 17th of Brusendar, and pretty much a month from then, from a month now, will be the 16th of Sidenstar 836, which of course is the 1-year anniversary of the Mighty Nine first meeting in Trostnwald.
Okay.
They're coming up on a 1-year anniversary.
11 months, it's so short.
I know,
so
that's the
How are they not
calendar,
exhausted?
I know.
I am exhausted watching an episode of Critical Role.
Yeah.
I know. Time is so weird, especially when you have some episodes taking place within the same day.
Yeah, multiple.
It's so weird.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
Yeah, it's like jet lag but worse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I guess now we can. Do we dare to try and come up with tinfoil hat theories? Do we even attempt?
You know,
I have no idea. Although I don't know about tinfoil hat theories, but I was watching some episodes. Wasn't there a section you did where you had some fan art, or was misunderstanding or remembering?
Oh.
So usually we'll do like fan art, but because we were doing 2 episodes today, I decided to just drop it just for the sake of time.
I've seen FMA's been putting a bunch of cool fan art in the chat that you guys can check out.
Nice. But in terms of tinfoil hat theories, at this point, anything could be a tinfoil hat theory. We have no idea.
Yeah. You know what? They're gonna go into this cavern, and this is where we're gonna find Vandrin having a barbecue.
Damn it! No, I was just about to say that. Damn it! I just had that thought.
Oh my god!
I was waiting for you to finish, and I was going to be like, I have a theory. I don't know if you saw. My eyes went wide. I was like, ooh, I've got a fun theory. Damn it, Nico.
The one we've been hyping up since before
like,
Rumble Cusp.
They meet the Tomb Takers, and there's Vandrin with him.
Yeah. Yeah. These are the groups of the group of people that Vandrin said Ford would like.
Oh god. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well there's that theory gone. No, that's good. I think
maybe they'll actually go to the city itself as a group.
Oh, I don't like that.
Maybe.
It's a possibility, at least. I mean, they're high enough level for plane shift and all that.
Can any of them cast plane shift?
Yeah, the cleric.
Kree might be able to, because Kree, people were posting blood cleric abilities in chat, and the one that they think affected Veth is a level 17 cleric ability. So Kree might have some tricks up
plane
her sleeve.
shift a cleric spell?
It might not be.
Well, that and also just clerics in general could use plane shift as a 7th level spell.
Okay, well there you go.
But they would need something like a tuning fork attuned to the astral sea, which I'm sure someone like Kree would have.
Easy enough,
yeah.
Oh yeah, they might actually visit the city itself, and that would be kind of pretty fucking frightening.
Sure, because it sounds like, because keep in mind too, because we've talked about this before, but the initial the initial thing that Lucian went through with Veth that we've kind of pieced together was that he was astral projected, or he was sent to the city by Veth. They needed Veth to do it, to send him to the city, and that's where we assume he lost his memories. Either Veth did it, or
Veth sabotaged it. Veth sabotaged it.
Yeah. So,
which of course falls in line with Beau's theory. Actually, the fact that she went wrong because of her.
Yeah. So, I think they Marius. They might not be powerful enough to do it themselves yet. They might. That's maybe why he was stealing stuff from Veth. He needed the book. He needed the ritual.
Yeah, he needed the book.
There.
The book was the key.
Yeah. So.
And it wasn't just any old spell book either. Although that being said, that brings up line another thing that I'm sure has confused a lot of people. The fact that there was no record about the Eyes of Nine or anything like that in even the Cobalt Soul. There's the theory that it could have been scrubbed, or maybe just the fact that there was simply no knowledge to begin with that was made available to them. I mean, if even the gods like Laura couldn't divine any information on it, how would a monastic library?
Yeah.
Maybe there was just. I think that even brings to mind a very random quote from episode 2 of things. You recall they were investigating the old man turned into a zombified creature at the carnival.
Oh yeah.
And they were doing a bit of the detective work.
Yeah.
If I recall, even back then, Beauregard was saying something along the lines of, "I still like some of the best information you can get can be the information that you don't find, and sometimes lack of information can be a process of elimination."
Yeah. Some Sherlock Holmes shit.
Exactly. They underestimate her a lot, her intelligence and her intuition.
But that's part of her. That's part of her deal. Part of her deal is to present as like a brash kind of like in your face character, so people underestimate her.
And I'm so glad she's coming out of her shell a lot more these days.
Well, the thing she does with the Mighty Nine, I think, though, in public and when meeting new people, she still has that persona because it is like a good disguise. People are less likely to be hidden if they think she's just a bit of a buffoon. So like, well, you're nothing to really be concerned about when really she's the mastermind.
In reality, she has 20 wisdom, 19 intelligence, and she's just nothing slips by her.
And let's be real, Marisha is the mastermind. So
Exactly.
But also, of course, a lot of those traits also is what Yasha sees in her. You're like strong, leader. You're really smart. You're really funny. You're honest, even if it hurts. And of course, and the fact that she loves so fiercely.
Oh yeah.
She totally nailed Beau's character down in that one letter.
Yeah.
And it was enough to even move her to tears. Even Marisha to tears. That was so beautiful.
I love
that. But yeah, that is just who she is deep down beneath the jerk-ass facade, which I've always said is pretty much been a mess that she's forced herself to wear because, if she's going to be treated like an asshole, might as well act the part. So a lot of her asshole-ish attitudes and whatnot, it was just a mask hiding truths, frightened and scared little girl.
Yeah.
And so recently within this past year, that she's been able to finally let that mask slip further and further.
Yeah.
I actually really like that. It's like trying to undo like 20 plus years of misery and loneliness just because she found a family that actually gives a damn.
Yeah. I think we still have more for like Beau's kind of backstory resolution because that was a mess. That was not necessarily in terms of like going back and having conversations, but like in terms of just catharsis or like resolution because she's doing better with the Mighty Nine, but like it was a mess when it ended. It was like the confrontation with her father
exactly any closure.
Didn't go well, and then the confrontation with the Shanai, like that was a mess as well.
Yeah, there was no closure because they didn't go there for closure to begin with. They just went there for not.
Yeah.
She didn't get the proper arc that she deserves. They just went there for not her. And that's what I was always upset about. But I don't think she even has a desire for closure with them anyway because she's happier with the Nine.
No, that's not what I mean by closure. I don't mean like she needs to reconcile or like talk to her family or anything like that. I mean like just
I think
growth beyond that.
Yeah, I think she's already accomplishing that. I mean, think back to how she was so fed up with controlling people. It's like, if I had to hear one more person say that pain is the only way to make a resilient person, what a shitty excuse. She was calling out the old man right there, and people like Beau and Trent.
Yeah.
That took courage of her. But yeah, I don't think she's gonna need a lot more resolution with her backstory. I think hers is pretty much. It's ongoing, really. And she's trying to. I think she's trying to make it completely divorced from her family and trying to heal on her own with her found family.
Yeah.
So yeah. As for other people, I mean, Uk'otoa is still a threat as long as that cloven crystal still exists.
Uk'otoa is going to appear in this cavern. There's going to be Geladon as well. It'd be cool though if they are going through this cavern and they find things.
Yeah, the assembly as a whole as well. A whole lot of things they're still unresolved.
There's just like a hat with all of the names of villains and events that could possibly happen, and Matt's just like swirling it around. And he's just gonna pull one out, and then that's what we're gonna get.
That's on the table. That's on his.
That's my tinfoil hat theory. That's
it's the newest game from Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. But it's not a tinfoil hat theory, but I do hope that Lucian does have Molly's memories, but because Molly wasn't actually who he was, he's sort of pushing those aside, and he is Lucian. But I do really want to believe that Lucian will recognize the party.
And to further that, I kind of hope too that he's not like bitter about those Molly memories. Like you can imagine someone in that power would be like, crap, I lost 2 years of my life, like my progress has been pushed back. But I hope he gets the enjoyment that Molly had from those memories. Like, it's not like this was a fool. Like, I not that person. Like, I don't want him to be this strict asshole, which I don't think he sounds like. He sounds like someone that is similar to Molly in the same aspects of being like kind of charismatic and, you know, enjoying what he's doing. I guess it sounds like. So I'm hoping it's not going to be like, oh yes, those silly little memories of the person wearing circus clothes. Like, I want there to be some recognition of it being a good memory.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, maybe in a private conversation with Beau or Yasha, he ends up letting the mask slip and mentioning the times that he had with Molly, showing that he's still in there, but he's obviously just trying to live his life at Lucian, try to get those 2 years back, but still holding on to those memories because they were good memories.
That said, I think if any of them have a private conversation with Lucian, they're insane. Like, they need to stick together in a group.
Yep. Do not be alone with this man.
Do not go alone.
That's very true.
You're gonna come out with more eyes than you currently have.
Yeah, I got these cool tattoos.
Yeah.
That's gonna take a hell of a lot of convincing to even have that kind of thing. Or maybe it's just a conversation between him and the 9. Just a private conversation between them.
Yeah.
Away from his cronies.
Exactly.
Yeah, potentially.
Oh boy.
There's a possibility. It's too new. We don't know anything. So I mentioned agree with Beau. They actually need to just tag along and suss out what's going on. Find out if he's evil or if he's just doing this just fulfill what he wants to do for his own personal interests. And killing Veth was just an act of an act of revenge because she stole 2 years of his life. Completely unrelated. Anything, just maybe a little bit business, but also personal.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Pretty much.
Plus the fact that it was them that killed Veth, not the 99. So.
Yeah. Do we have Talks Machina this week, or is it?
I believe we do. Yes. Since it's every fortnight, it would be this week. Yes.
This week, no. This coming
It'll be
week.
next week.
Cool.
Next week on the 7th, 8th, 9th, the 10th.
Yeah, sweet.
Who do we hope's gonna be on it? I feel like
I would like.
I think Taliesin might.
Well, they're kind of doing it. I think since Talks has been back, they've been getting. They've not doubled up yet. They're like getting everyone in so they can talk about stuff that's happened so far.
I would say it's probably gonna be. Well, they already had Marisha and Taliesin at one point, so
they did. Oh yeah, that's right.
They've had Liam
and Marisha.
No, it was Liam and Ashley, wasn't it?
Yeah, Liam and Ashley, Matt and Laura. Taliesin
Everyone's been on. Yeah, so they can all come out now. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, who hasn't been on? Wait, they've all been on. Yeah, I would like probably Matt and Taliesin would be great.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Or Marisha and Matt. I want Matt.
Oh yeah, that too.
I want Matt.
Well, we'll find out for sure when they announce the schedule on Monday.
Yeah.
Or maybe a little sooner.
Yeah, maybe sooner. But just like with Talks Machina and just like with Critical Role, we're just gonna have to wait and find out, and just bide our time, I guess. But are there any closing thoughts about these past 2 episodes? Any last things we just gotta get off our chests? Any worries, concerns, hopes?
Oh, so many worries.
Yeah, I guess that's a little bit of a loaded question.
Okay, I'll narrow it down. Name perhaps off the top of your head the most pressing thing that you're thinking about regards to these 2 episodes and beyond.
The most depressing thing?
No,
the most pressing.
The most pressing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Probably the fact that this floating city is a thing.
Yeah.
That's
and
probably...
the fact that they've got a dead Cerberus assembly.
And they got a dead Cerberus. That's a whole other thing.
We have no idea how that's going to be resolved.
Especially because Yezza's still in the Empire. Like.
Yeah.
Well, technically he's back.
But again, they've got bigger things to worry about. Even though Veth just died, they still got bigger things to worry about.
Yeah, which is insane.
I know.
That, and in fact, they may not even care about Veth anymore at the assembly. They just think, oh, she's dead. She's expended. We have reserves.
Yeah.
It's still not a good look though.
It is not.
I think they still need to put on the face.
But they would know the 9 did not kill her, so why would they punish the 9? Even they hid the evidence of her murder, but they didn't kill her. It was a random third party. For me, the most pressing thing on my mind, well, technically back to back, we've had confirmation from both Yasha and Beau that they are definitely in love with each other. They're just a little afraid to make they're a little afraid to make the first move. Both of them, they've been passing the ball between each sides of their court, back and forth. I am very concerned though that what if one of them dies before they actually talk about it? Either that, or maybe
no.
Either that, or they actually will talk about it.
That's too angsty. Okay.
I don't.
We don't go for angst.
I don't want that to happen. Trust me, I don't want that. I do think that with the possibly the next 1 or 2 episodes, they'll talk about it because out there. Beau has the love letter. She knows.
They need
Yasha
downtime for it though. They need mansion downtime for that to happen.
Well, they're in a dungeon crawl. They'll have that time.
Yeah. D'Artagnan the Third, to finish it up, the most pressing concern 100% is the fact that they will not get paid.
They're going to get paid a shit ton.
They're going to get paid. They're going to get paid fort money. Like they could have built like a castle.
Yeah.
They also still need to use the mirror.
Yeah.
They still need to use the mirror.
What's the mirror?
Beau's sex mirror.
Oh yes. Oh yeah, that's true.
That's gonna be useful. But,
I was like, the mirror Allura gave them? What?
Yeah, they could, they could just, just call up Allura just to,
Oh my god.
Just to talk with her again.
Okay, no, that too.
Oh gosh. But I guess with all of that being said, we can go ahead and start wrapping up. I feel like every episode has just been like I need like a breather. I need like a 10-minute breather after the episode is over to just like
it's ironic
relax.
The fact that it's ironic the fact that all the episodes we've had ever since the hiatus ended, it has just been
non-stop,
just stressful and without rest.
It's been go mode.
That and also the fact that they're definitely making up for lost time by really ramping up the tension, the feels, everything, and I love it.
Yeah.
I'm back in the time zone now with daylight savings where it starts 5 minutes before I finish work, so I'm back in the kind of putting audio on in my car as I'm driving very safely home.
Yes.
And trying to get to it before the episode starts, so I'm back watching somewhat live now, which is fun. It's the summer routine.
I hate daylight savings time.
I like it for the summer. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's light longer.
It is.
Yeah. Spring season.
But anyways, thank you all again so much for joining us for yet another episode of the What the Sheep podcast. It is always such a joy. And with bangers of episodes like these ones we've been having, it just makes it all the more enjoyable to be able to talk about this with, fellow fans and friends and critters alike. So thank you for joining us in chat today. Thank you all for joining us on YouTube in the comments and on Anchor and Spotify and wherever else this podcast may find itself. We really appreciate the support and the lovely conversations. Adam, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to have you on. Your insight expands not only from Twitter, but now also onto this podcast as well.
Yeah.
I am beyond grateful that you gave me the invite, Nico. Both you and Alana for having me. Maybe I'll come by at some point again in the future. Just let me know, and we'll see if I'm available.
Yeah, of course.
I'd love to come back eventually.
Yeah, no, this is seriously always such a fun time. But again, thank you all so much once more. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your day wherever you find yourself on this earth, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.